Hello all. Today we are traveling to the wonderful island of Jamaica. 30 minutes. I want to know about Mr. Bob Marley. Get the heck out of here. Big Fact Hunt! Hello and welcome, my Big Fact Hunters, back to the Big Fact Hunt, where today I, Sam Smith, the Fact Controller, have quested these three lovelies to find out facts about the one and only Mr. Bob Marley. I'd like to start off a fact from the one and only Mr. Thom Adams.
Mr. Thom Adams, that's me. All right, my first fact of this is that you guys all know Bob Marley's wonderful song, No Woman, No Cry.
Yes.
But do you know who co-wrote the song with him and actually gets the right songwriting credits?
Is it a crying woman?
Only a man named Vincent Ford, who actually probably didn't write the song, but has been credited as a songwriter by Bob Marley many, many times in many, many of his songs. Vincent Ford isn't a musician's bumhole by his own admission. Vincent Ford runs a soup kitchen and lost both his legs to diabetes.
Oh.
And so Bob Marley, by putting him down as his songwriter of No Woman, No Cry, means that he gets royalties from that song in perpetuity.
Oh,
That's
that's
really kind of them.
amazing.
Now,
That's
some
like
say
the
that
rights to Peter Pan being willed to Great Ormond Street Children's Hospital.
yes, except Bob Marley and Vincent Ford.
And not disgusting orphans.
I
Wow.
think that's really cool, though. This
That's
guy.
really
That's a
cool.
lovely
Just
gesture.
yeah, he can just keep running the soup kitchen because No Woman, No Cry is maybe one of the most popular songs in the world.
That's
I was gonna say-
amazing.
I feel like
That's
if you're
a lovely
getting No
thing.
Woman, No Cry royalties, you should be able to upgrade from soup. Like at this point, it should
it's
at least
no-
be a pasta kitchen.
Or just rename your soup kitchen. I mean, soup kitchen's not really a marketing affair, is it? But No Soup, No Cry is probably quite a good.
Strong start to the episode, Tom. Well done. Proud of you. Jen Jewel, could I please have a fact about Bob Marley?
We all know, obviously, Bob Marley was born on Waitangi Day. The
What?
6th of February. Yeah, the 6th of February, 1945. So in Wellington every year, there used to be a massive reggae festival called One Love, celebrating Bob
Yeah.
Marley's birthday and kind of Rastafari culture generally. And it was always great because it was always on Waitangi weekend because it was always
Yeah.
celebrated on Bob Marley's birthday, which is the 6th of February. So I wanted to know if he shared any significant life milestones with our Waitangi Day celebrations. And it turns out that, so he was born on the 11th Waitangi Day, because as we discussed in our previous podcast on Waitangi Day, they only started celebrating it in 1934. So he was born on the 11th Waitangi Day. And then the same year as No Woman, No Cry became Bob Marley's first big international hit,
Vincent Ford's.
1975, Vincent Ford's massive hit. 1975, that was also the year that we made Waitangi Day a public holiday, presumably to
Whoa.
recognize its connection to Bob Marley.
Amazing.
Yeah, and I thought, Sam, that you would also appreciate that he also shares his birthday, albeit not his birth year, with Axl Rose, Kathy Najimy, and Rick Astley.
And my
Rick-
son Harry.
And your
and
son
Rip
Harry.
Torn.
Rip Torn.
Sorry, I was trying to go for people who had a positive implication alongside them.
Why? What happened to Rip Torn?
I don't know, I just wanted to shit on Tom's suggestion.
Nathan Kenny, please give us a fact.
Bob Marley is miles better than Eminem, or at least mile better than Eminem.
Yep.
What?
So
What?
he was born on the 6th of February, the same day as Harry and Rip Torn. In a place called on a farm in 9 Mile in St Anne Parish in Jamaica. And Eminem comes, as you might have noticed from the movie, from 8 Mile near to Detroit.
He comes from the movie 8 Mile.
9 Mile, 1 mile more than 8 Mile.
Mile.
So at least 1 mile better. At least
I think so.
When I was looking up
Go on.
8 Mile to compare it to 9 Mile, I found out Eminem's not the first famous rapper to be related to 8 Mile. So there was a 1997 film called Gridlocked, which is set in Detroit, in which Tim Roth and Tandy Newton form a fictitious musical act called 8 Mile Road. And the third member of that group is Tupac Shakur.
Oh
Hey.
no, he died.
He's
No.
super dead,
Oh,
just like
no.
Bob Marley. It all fits together.
At least he'll be remembered by his supermarket, 2-pack and save.
But the Proclaimers are 491 miles ahead and are still alive and trucking today. La-da-da-da.
I want another fact, please, and I want this one from Jennifer Jewell.
Bob Marley's dad might have been Arthur Conan Doyle's neighbor.
Wait, let me write that down. That's great. Bob Marley's dad might
Good, solid
have
start.
been Arthur Conan Doyle's neighbor. Okay, so this is the guy who wrote Sherlock Holmes.
Yep.
Where
Believed
was
in
this?
fairies.
Is this Jamaica or is this
No.
Scotland?
So Bob Marley's dad was called Norval Marley, which is a
Incredible.
weird name. It sounds like a fake name that you make up. He was born in a little town called Crowborough in East Sussex in England.
Oh.
And I looked up Crowborough because it sounds like where my mum's from, which is Crowthorne. But that's in Berkshire, so it's a completely different place. But I just like crows as well, so I thought I'd look into it. And it turns out that they've got a statue of Arthur Conan Doyle in their main street, and I wanted to know why. And it's because he moved there in the late the late 1900s, by which I mean somewhere between 1907 and 1910, not like the 1990s, because he was super dead by then. And he's buried there. And
Right.
Norval Marley was born there in 1885. And then I couldn't find out where he was between then and 1916 when he enlisted in the army in Liverpool. But there is like a 6 to 9 year period where Arthur Conan Doyle and Norval Marley could have lived in the same tiny town. By tiny, in the 2018 census, it had 20,000 people in it, which is the same size as Ashburton.
Oh, yeah,
So this is a
that's good.
small village.
Yeah. That's great. So wait, so Bob Marley's dad was British?
Yep.
He was English. Wow.
And then he was working in Jamaica as a plantation overseer, which is
Yeah.
gross. But also I didn't realize was still a job in the like 1940s.
I think the
That's
employment
more
structure
Sherlock
was a little
Holmes
bit
stuff.
different. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully, yeah.
A little bit more updated by the 1940s. Also, there was a world war going on.
Yes,
So
there
people
was.
got distracted by that. Quick, they're doing a war over in Europe. Let's get a plantation going again. Yeah, nice.
But he seems like he probably wasn't a great guy. He bailed. I did some very quick math, so I might be wrong on this, but I think he was 60 when he got Bob Marley's mum pregnant, and she was 17, and then he bailed and didn't really have anything to do with Bob and his mum.
Mm.
So not a great guy, but came from the same place as Arthur Conan Doyle, so that's quite fun.
Can I please have another fact from Mr. Nathan Kenny?
I'm going to pick up the Bob Marley's dad was a bit odd bandwagon. I'm going to keep on rolling down that road. Did you guys know that he styled himself Captain Norval Marley, but he was never a captain. He was busted out at private. But funny that it's called he was a private because he got out of frontline duty after enlisting by claiming incontinence of urine.
Amazing.
And he deliberately wet the bed repeatedly over like all of his basic training until they were like, no, you can't do this anymore. Like, imagine if you
so
did it in
many
the trenches,
sheets.
like those nice dry trenches. Imagine if you wet the bed there.
I was going to say, surely you just make sure he's on the bottom bunk and then you're fine.
But so he got out of sort of frontline service and he was put in the laundry and sanitation divisions.
That seems wrong.
Yeah, like, oh, this guy pisses all over clean sheets. Where shall we put him? With
Let's-
the laundry.
Let's put him with everyone's sheets. Yeah. nice.
90% of these sheets are your fault, so you can clean them.
But yeah, so he spent World War One doing the laundry, and then he disappeared to Africa for a little bit, and then he popped up, claimed he was a captain, and had lots of illegitimate children around Jamaica.
Gotta have a hobby.
He's kind of the grandfather of reggae music, which is weird. Mr. Tom Adams, another fact, please.
Without Bob Marley, I would have had nothing to do in O Week of 2007.
What? Without
But he
Bob
was already
Marley?
dead.
So I'm going to take us back to 1979 when Bob Marley came to New Zealand for his one and only concert in Western Springs. And there was a little young lad named Thompson Horhepper, who was only 13 years old and saw it, loved it, and started his own band named after Bob Marley, one of Bob Marley's albums, Catch a Fire, and they named their band Catch a Fire.
That's clever.
Then, I should have done the math on this one, 25 years later, in 2007, I was tasked with, I was trying to get a free tickets to gigs, so I was helping out the student services, OUSA, with a week. And one of my jobs was to drive around bands, and Catch a Fire was one of the bands. And so I drove them around Dunedin, just kind of really nice. Just in the van.
They were cool.
Out. Oh, just nice guys.
Of course they are.
This is the most tangential brag I've ever heard. I love it.
I once drove Catch a Fire to a hotel.
25 years after one of them went to see Bob Marley.
It's pretty massive, guys.
The bands I remember coming to our O Weeks were Alien Ant Farm.
Oh yeah.
The Violent Femmes.
The Violent Femmes, yes.
And apparently half the crowd left after they played Blister in the Sun.
They played it first.
Yeah. And then everyone was like, okay, bye.
I think I went to see Elemento P with you, Kenny, in our first O Week.
And that creepy fucking hypnotist.
Oh yeah.
Now I have the biggest penis you've ever seen. And when you touch it, you only get burned. So why is this? This is just sexual harassment with more steps.
Yeah, just a man playing out his very specific weird kinks on stage.
See, I don't believe that hypnosis is a thing.
It isn't. I was
it doesn't make sense.
Hypnotized. I was just improvising.
I love that you saw this as an opportunity to showcase your talents.
I'm just gonna work my craft. I gotta get some practice.
Nathan Kenny, please.
Bob Marley, given name was either Robert Nesta Marley or Nesta Robert Marley. And based on the sources that I find on the internet, no one knows which way around it is, because the story goes that he took it to, when they got him his first passport when he was only a couple of years old, a Jamaican passport official decided Nesta was a girl's name and didn't want it for his first name. So on his official documentation, it's Robert Nesta Marley. But it may well be the other way around. I assume his mum knows, possibly his dad, but the internet doesn't seem to be telling.
When Charlie was born, we wrote you fill out an online form where you put their name. So we typed his name in, then I checked it, and then Meg checked it, and then I checked it again just to make sure everything was right, because this is quite important. It's going to be our son's name. And then we're about to push send, and then we went, no wait, we'll check it one more time together, just to make sure we've spelled everything right, we've done everything right. And so, yeah, we checked it. It said Charlie Bainan Heatley Smith, which wasn't his name. His name was Charlie Bainan Howard Smith. Heatley is my middle name. And we very almost gave our son the wrong name.
Nesta, Nesta. But Nestor is quite a stentorian official name. Like
it's also the genus of Kia, so...
Yeah, Nestor Notabilis.
I don't know what you just said, but it sounds like it's not English, so we'll move on.
Latin, the magic language.
Latin.
It's a Kia.
Sound like that hypnotist. Thomas Adams, another fact, please.
Bob Marley was the 11th highest earning dead man of 2021.
Ooh.
Due mostly in part to a deal made by the Bob Marley family to put his name on a bunch of psychedelic mushrooms.
Imagine. So I love 11th.
I think is pretty good.
I love 11th highest as well.
Oh, it's unbelievable who's actually the highest. It's do you guys know who the highest is? So he's 16 million. He earned 16 million in 2021. Roald Dahl earned 150 million dollars.
Whoa.
I invite your attention to it. I think it's about number 9, where there is a person who I've never heard of called Jerry Goffin. Has anyone here heard of Jerry Goffin? Out-earned slightly Luther Vandross and Bob Marley.
Yep, but Bob Marley also gave him the writing credits to Buffalo Soldier, so that's why he earned so much.
Gave him the patent to soup, I heard.
But here we go. So here are some of the products: one mind, one harmony, one body, one rest, and this is relevant to his father, one flow.
So who was this Jerry Coffin or whatever his name was, Kenny?
He's dead. He's dead now. No one cares.
He wrote songs or something, and
his wife is Carole King.
Oh,
so he wrote "Saving All
Will
My
You
Love
Love
for
Me
You."
Tomorrow? Take good care of my
Will
baby.
still
The
love me.
Locomotion.
He wrote
What?
Locomotion.
I thought that was
Wrote the
Olivia
Locomotion.
Newton-John.
Well, he co-wrote the Locomotion.
Guys, stop. We can't do the Bob Marley song anymore. Let's do Jerry Goffin.
You have to win, Tom. Then you can choose.
Jen, could I please have another Bob Marley fact?
The man who killed Bob Marley also had a girl's middle name.
What?
Wait,
Someone
mean Bob-
killed Bob Marley?
he died of cancer.
So there was an assassination attempt on Bob Marley's life in the 70s, but this is not that.
Oh.
Bob Marley did die of cancer, but much like our old friend and previous podcast, luminary Steve Jobs, friend of the podcast,
Friend
Steve
of the
Jobs.
podcast, Steve Jobs.
Bob Marley eschewed traditional medical treatment, that works, and decided to go with what's called ISIL therapy, which involves fruit juice, thrice daily coffee enemas, ozone and UV blood treatment, and intravenous application of an extract made from apricot pips, aka absolute nonsense. And not surprisingly, he died.
Yeah. Wow.
There's cyanide in apricot pips.
Yeah, exactly. So I looked up other people who have been treated by this this protocol, which was designed by a German doctor called Joseph Maria Issels, and it's because his family had a tradition of naming all children after their maternal grandmother and an uncle. So he's like Joseph Maria, I can't remember what his other middle name was, but like Herman Issel.
Amazing.
Very, very weird. Yeah, and the only other person I could find who was treated by this guy was a woman called Lillian Board, who was a British athlete who won the silver medal at the 400 meters in the 1986 Mexico Olympics, and then 2 golds at the European Championships in Athens. But immediately after the Athens Games, unfortunately, she got diagnosed with colorectal cancer and died not long afterwards, after the Issels treatment was completely unsuccessful, because you should probably try radiotherapy and chemo first.
Preach, Jen. We get it. You've
Yeah.
had cancer and you've been there. Yeah, cool.
Because I didn't eat fucking apricots.
That's right, yeah.
I do want to just point out as well, the stated aim of the treatment protocol is just to induce fevers, because they think that the fever will burn the cancer cells out of you.
That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works.
That's really not how it works, but there you go.
Do your nothing scones lack a fruity kick? Is your margarine toast failing to bring the flavor? Does the plaininess of your pikelets make you want to puke your fucking guts out? Then you need jam. Jam. It's the fruity chowder that makes intolerable food tolerable. But not you, Marmalade. You are disgusting and nobody likes you. Anybody who says they like marmalade is lying to try and suck up to Paddington Bear so he doesn't eat them. Marmalade is yuck. And if you sign up to Jam's overly frequent mailing list within the next hour, and you include the special code BONA420, you'll be sent 69 jars of jam straight to your door every hour for the rest of your miserable life. So thanks, Jam, for sponsoring today's show. Get in your jammies and jam some jam down your gobhole. And now back to the hunt. Tom Adams, a fact, please.
One of Bob Marley's dreadlocks sold for just over £250 per centimetre.
Whoa! How long was it?
4 inches.
It's a very personal thing.
4 inches. So it sold for about £2,500 for about a 4-inch length. But what's really significant about this is that no one should have it, because he was a Rastafarian, and one of the main tenets of Rastafarianism is do not cut your hair. So this girl, he cut a lock of his hair, gave it to a girl, and she kept it for 23 years and then sold it.
Whoa!
But it outdid George Washington, a pendant of George Washington's hair, which contained 3 1-centimetre strands of his hair, only went for £600. So
she is now cloning this on an offshore island in the middle of Central America.
that's what I'm here for.
Somewhere on an offshore island is half T-Rex, half Bob Marley roaring at the moon.
Wait.
Tiny little arms and no legs.
Rastafarosaurus.
Yeah.
Jen, I would love another fact from you, please, Jen.
from me. Well, I decided to once again shamelessly pander to you, Sam, and
Yes.
I'm going to tell you a fact about the day that Bob Marley died.
What?
Yeah. So we all know about the theory of reincarnation.
He died.
Yeah.
So the same day that Bob Marley died was the
Yes.
day the Boss Baby was born.
What?
Baby.
Alec Baldwin.
No. So
Oh.
JP Carliak voices the Boss Baby in the Netflix TV series of the same name.
Fuck, all right, cool.
And you may
God,
be
this is
thinking,
such-
oh, this is another one of Jen's bullshit birthday facts where I
Yeah.
don't even
Yeah.
know the person. But do you know who Dante Crescendo in Trollstopia is?
No.
Yeah, man, I thought you guys would. You all got kids. I expected you to be up on shit kids TV shows. Okay. I have a slightly more impressive fact, which is that the day Bob Marley died was the day that something was born, which I think we are all aware of, which is the musical Cats. It had its
No.
very first premiere on the 11th of May, 1981, as Bob Marley lay dying, probably thinking, this is going to end up in a James Corden film, and I don't want to be here to see this. And it began an 8,949 show run at the New London Theatre, closing on May the 11th, 2002. 21 years later.
And do you know what exciting thing happened 2 years after that, on May 11th, 2004? I started dating a young Miss Megan Howard
There you go.
on Bob Marley's death day anniversary.
I
It was
assume that's how
meant
you met. You
to
were both
be.
wailing in a graveyard somewhere.
Wailing. Very good.
Yeah.
Kenny, can I please have another fact?
So, despite making poor choices with his healthcare, Bob Marley was very tough, or maybe that's why he made poor choices with his healthcare. So he was nicknamed Tough Gong when he was growing up for being like really tough, I assume, in a reasonably tough neighborhood. So he must have been super duper tough.
Yeah.
And this was evidenced by the fact that 2 days after he was shot twice in an assassination attempt, he performed. So yeah,
What?
so I don't want to give too much away about the assassination attempt in case anyone else is going to cover this, but yeah, he was shot a couple of times in a break-in in his home by 7 people, and 2 days later he went on stage and he performed as per normal, and he got better.
Where was he
until
shot?
In the head and in the torso.
In the head and the torso.
No, his wife was shot in the head.
Oh, his wife.
It hit him, his wife, and his manager.
Yeah.
Why were they all in a bed together?
They're all just in a line.
Wow. And he performed
He didn't-
straight away.
He didn't
2
perform
days
as
later.
normal
2 days.
because the rest of his band was all in hiding because they were too scared. So he performed with a different band. The Wailers were all not coming into public because they
Incredible.
weren't Tough Gong.
Yeah, they weren't that far. And he then called his record label that, and it remained called that until it was taken over by Island Records.
Jen, a quick fact, please.
My quick fact, I tried to find a link between Bob Marley and Jacob Marley from A Christmas Carol, but all I could find out was that they both were really keen on telling people to be nice to each other.
Yeah, Mali
But
is
my
a
actual
country,
fact-
and so is Jamaica, where he's from.
Ooh. So Bob Marley was buried with a football, his guitar, and a bag of weed just in case.
Despite having 20 members over the years, the Wailers, of Bob Marley and the Wailers, only ever had one whaler, Bunny Wailer.
That's amazing.
If I'm honest, their name was not Bunny Wailer in the first place. Their name was Neville Livingston.
And he was kind of Bob Marley's quarter brother because
What?
Bunny's
He kept pissing the bed.
dad and Bob Marley's mum got together when they were like 13.
And that man's
So
name?
they were already best friends, and then their parents got together and were like, "Do you want to have a kid?" So they had a sister who's Bunny's half sister and Bob's half sister.
And you know what their dad's name was? Vincent Ford.
Guys, this has been a wonderful trip to the rollicking shores of Jamaica, where the wonderful band, the Wailers, started off as a ska band, went on to
Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up.
right, went on to influence Bob Marley to then create reggae out of that. We've found out a lot of great facts. And I love blimmin' all of them. My least favorite fact was Tom's one about ketchup.
Good.
But my favorite fact was about the wonderful Mr. Vincent Ford. Tom, you have taken out the episode. Congratulations. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up.
I have a confession, guys. I didn't write the effect. Vincent Ford wrote the effect. So he gets all the credit for this win. I'm going to be coming to you next week with more facts about Vincent Ford.
Thank you for listening and watching, everyone. Check us out on all the usual places. Follow us in the street. Give us things.
Don't do that last one.
And send us
Please
money.
approach us.
And and watch the episode of Shortland Street that was on tonight. Shout out to Jam, our sponsor, and we'll see you next week. Ciao, goodbye.